Could Trump's 2025 real estate plan be the fix that we need for America's housing crisis? Or will it create unintended challenges for buyers and renters? Today, we're diving into the key elements of his plan that will affect all buyers, renters, sellers, and developers. If you're planning to buy, sell, or invest, this is the video you don't want to miss. Trump's 2025 real estate plan is making big waves with bold promises to cut housing costs, boost inventory, and overall tackle housing affordability. But do these ideas hold water? Today, we're going to unpack 5 of Trump's major proposals. We're going to weigh out the pros and the cons and see what these changes may mean to your wallet. Understanding these changes will be the key to staying ahead in 2025. The first topic we're going to discuss is his plan to streamline housing regulations. Current problem is developers face high costs and delays due to restrictive zoning laws, environmental regulations, and lengthy permit processes. For example, it can take over 2 years to approve a single development in some states, delaying much-needed housing. His 2020 policies streamlined some environmental restrictions, and in 2025, similar proposals aim to remove barriers that slow construction. This could significantly boost housing supplies in high-demand areas. For instance, cities like San Francisco and Seattle could see more affordable housing options if developers face fewer hurdles. However, some critics argue that lesser regulation could lead to poorly planned developments and various environmental risks. Local communities may also push back if zoning changes affect neighborhood character. So what does this mean for you? If you're purchasing a property, this could mean a greater amount of inventory, which may mean prices may stabilize or come down some, which gives you a better opportunity, more selection with better and more favorable prices. If you're selling, of course, the interest could be opposite. You might see that the market is a little bit tougher to sell with more competition. Prices may stabilize for the first time in, probably 5 years, and you may even see in some areas where values actually start to come down some. So my advice for you is real estate is always hyper-local. Stay in tune with your local marketplace. While, of course, presidential administrations, they are going to come, they're going to go, and they may have some effect. It's really more what's going on locally. So stay in tune with those local developments. Trump's second plan that we're going to tackle today is the unlocking of federal land for housing development. The current problem we have is most urban areas have run out of space to be able to develop. For example, Los Angeles has seen skyrocketing land costs, which make it impossible to develop affordable housing. The federal government owns vast amount of underused land. Trump plans to open some of it up for residential development, focusing on high-demand areas where shortages are most acute. This could create large-scale affordable housing communities for lower and moderate income home buyers. For example, a similar initiative in Utah opened up federal lands, significantly lowering home costs. Some of the potential downsides to this is developers may face challenges with infrastructure development on these lands, such as roads and utilities. Environmental advocates may also oppose using protected lands for housing. If this plan moves forward, it could mean more affordable housing options in urban centers like Chicago and New York. Now, while we're talking about housing options, if you're watching this video, there's a good chance that you're watching this because you're thinking about either buying, selling, or relocating yourself. And I've been in the business for over 30 years, and the one thing that I know for certain is that most real estate agents really suck. I would venture to say that 80 to 90% of them are horrible. But the good news is that 10 to 20% are freaking phenomenal. And during the time I've been in the business, I've built up a vast network of some of the top agents around the country, and I'm sure ones in your neighborhood as well. So what does this mean? If you're considering buying or selling real estate and you have any questions when it comes to real estate, you're going to need a great agent. And if you need help in identifying a great agent in your neighborhood, I'd love the opportunity to help you. Only thing you need to do is either click on the link below on the referral form, or you can scan the QR code, type in your information. I'll give you a quick call. I'm not going to stalk you, but just to kind of get a sense as to the things that you're interested in and really help make you and set you up with a great agent in your area to help you move to the next step. And when it comes to the referral, there's absolutely no obligation that you need to sell your house, buy a house, do anything. There's also no obligation that you need to work with this realtor. However, once again, best thing you can do to kind of get your questions answered in your local market is to deal with a professional. And so if you need that help and you'd like that referral, go ahead once again and click on that link right below for the referral, or just go ahead and scan the QR code, fill it out, and we'll get in touch with you. The third initiative in the Trump plan that we're going to tackle in this video is tax incentive for housing developers. The problem that we have with housing development is more of the developers oftentimes tend to be focused on more luxury projects because they tend to be more profitable, oftentimes neglecting more affordable housing options. Trump's plan expands tax incentives like the Opportunity Zone program to encourage affordable housing investments. This program already incentivizes developers to build in economically distressed areas, and Trump plans to strengthen these benefits. In Opportunity Zones in Florida, developers have built apartments that cater towards retirees and middle-income families. Expanding these incentives could replicate the success nationwide. This could mean more affordable housing options to both buyers and renters in urban and suburban areas. However, experts do say that oversight is critical to ensure that funds are used effectively. The fourth initiative we're going to cover tackles public housing reform. Public housing throughout the U.S. is oftentimes underfunded and poorly maintained, with millions of people either stuck on waiting lists or living in substandard conditions. This plan proposes modernizing public housing by incentivizing private investment and improving maintenance. His approach focuses on partnerships between the government and private developers to fund upgrades and build new units. This could improve living conditions for millions of Americans, shortening the waiting lists and giving better and more high-quality housing options for low and middle-income families. By bringing private investment into the mix, the government can leverage more resources while addressing long-term issues like aging infrastructure. The fifth Trump proposal, and probably the one that's most controversial, is aimed towards restricting immigration. High levels of immigration, especially in border states, are creating greater housing demand, which has caused both rents and home values to increase. Stricter immigration policies aim to slow this demand, particularly in states like Arizona and Texas, where housing markets are already under strain. While reducing demand could stabilize prices in some of these areas, the construction industry relies heavily on immigrant labor. Limiting immigration could exacerbate labor shortages, slowing housing development. So I kind of see this as a double-edged sword. If you live in some of these high immigration areas, while on one hand it could bring down some of the price, on the other hand, you could see more longer-lasting rippling effects by housing delays and a shortage in workers who are able to do the construction work. So in conclusion, Trump's 2025 plan when it comes to housing could have some transformative effects on the housing market, from streamlining regulations to unlocking federal land, as well as making huge improvements to federal housing. At the same time, loosening up regulations, what effect may that have on both the environment and the climate? Whether you're a buyer, seller, or investor, it's always good to keep up on what's going on when it comes to real estate. And once again, as I normally said, obviously these are some of Trump's policies, these are some of his initiatives. At the same time, really, it's what's going on local that's affecting you. Let me know what your thoughts are when it comes to Trump's plan for 2025 with the housing market. Do you think it's going to be transformative? Do you think it's going to have no effect at all? Or do you think it's going to be just a huge belly flop? If you'd like to discuss any of these changes, as well as anything else when it comes to real estate, let's talk one-on-one. You can either click right below in the description where we've got that Calendly link where we can set up a video conference, or you can go ahead and scan the QR code. Let's go ahead and get it on the calendar, set it up, and I'd love to help you with your real estate plan. Thanks once again for checking out my latest video. See you next week.